Reverend Tina Simpson is Minister Emeritus from First Unitarian Church in Rochester, where she faithfully served for 9 years as Minister of Spiritual Development and Pastoral Care. At present, she mentors and facilitates for UU Wellspring, has an active spiritual counseling practice, and this year will once again assist the UUEA with our Soul Matters small group program. Tina is an interfaith minister, educated and ordained through One Spirit Interfaith Seminary in New York City, and holds a certification in spiritual counseling. She is an associate member of the UU Ministers Association. Please welcome Reverend Tina.
Thank you. Don't take it. Don't you just love that story? I love that story. Dragon was. All right. Our reading today comes to us from Reverend Nancy Schaffer, and it's called Mending. How shall we mend you, sweet soul? What shall we use, and how is it in the first place? You've come to be torn. Come, sit. Come, tell me. We will find a way to mend you. I would offer you so much, sweet soul, this banana, sliced in rounds of palest yellow atop hot cereal, or these raisins scattered through it if you would rather. I would offer you cellos in the background singing melodies of Vivaldi, heard and wrote for us to keep. I would hold out to you everything colored blue or lavender or light green. All of this, I would offer you, sweet soul, all of it, or any piece of it might mend you. I would offer you, sweet soul, this chair by the window, this sunlight on the floor, the cat asleep in it. I would offer you my silence, my presence, all this love I have, and my sorrow that you've become torn. My battery pack died, so okay, we're gonna move this here. Thank you. I wondered what was going on. I would offer you my silence, my presence, all this love I have, and my sorrow you've become torn. How shall we mend you, sweet soul? With these, I think, gently. We can give you everything that will mend you: a rocking chair, some raisins, a cat, a field of lavender beginning just now to bloom. We will mend you with songs remembered entirely the first time ever they were heard. We will mend you with pieces of your own sweet self, sweet soul, and what you've been taught from the beginning. Here ends our reading. I chose the story today, our story for all ages, because it's my grandson Charlie's favorite story. For a while, we read it every time he came over to my house. I think he liked it because the dragon was indeed terrible and did all the things we find totally disgusting, perfect for a 6-year-old boy, like spitting on cupcakes and burping in church. Come on, that's pretty terrible, right? But I also thought he loved the story because a small boy redeems this troublesome creature. So one night, as we were reading the story for the 900th time, I asked Charlie if he thought he was like the small boy who befriended the dragon and made him lovable. He gave me one of those looks that kids give you when you're totally off base. And he said, "Grandma, I'm not the small boy in the story. I'm the dragon." And then he whispered, "Some days the dragon comes out even when I don't want him to." Can anybody relate? Now, I know this has been a horrific election season. Thank goodness we're coming to an end, and honestly, I'm still hopeful for a positive outcome. Friends, there have been endless rantings and fire breathing. There have been terrible dragons lurking on newscasts, social media, and perhaps in our families, our neighborhoods. I can easily point fingers because it is easy to rail and wring our hands and call other people names. Our country and communities are so divided that repairing that divide seems impossible right now. And yet our worship theme this month calls us to practice love through the act of repair. How do we even begin that? How do we step back and see the dragon that lives not in the other, but perhaps in each of us, the one that sneaks out from time to time? How do we recognize that we have become torn by these experiences? Perhaps we begin by being honest and listening to how hard it's been and offering ourselves a chair by the window and sunlight on the floor. Perhaps we begin by repairing ourselves. Okay, so I know this isn't a faith tradition that allows relief for confession, but here's mine. When there was a second assassination attempt on the Republican presidential candidate, I said to my husband, "Why can't these people be more competent?" I did. I really said that. I've seen election signs on my neighbors' lawns, and I've thought, why don't they just have a sign that says, "Stupid people live here"? I have seen the wrong election bumper sticker on a car or a pickup truck, and I silently sneered and swore, and my fingers just kind of did weird things underneath the dashboard. There's more. There's so much more. I really do feel like this terrible dragon is in my soul these days. I hope I'm not the only one. I hope you're sitting there thinking, oh, shoot, I've done some of those things too. I've donated money to candidates. I've written over 200 letters to vote forward. I walked the public market in Rochester to register voters. And in all this, I feel like I've not done enough. I can't seem to cut myself any slack because so much depends on this election. But friends, I'm tired. Maybe you are too. I need to remind myself that all of us have had a rough several years. Things have been hard. Hard for our nation, our communities, and for us as individuals. We have endured constant challenges to our values. We've struggled through a deadly pandemic made impossibly hard by political conflicts. We've watched horrific wars in Europe, the Middle East, and Africa. We've experienced violence in our own communities, and climate change has created disasters we knew were coming. And I'm sure each of us has had our own personal losses and troubles to add to the mix. Sometimes I wonder why and how we are still standing. I don't know about you, but my dragon is cranky, nasty, and terrible. And I honestly don't like this terrible dragon taking up residence inside me. My soul is tattered and in need of repair. As I was considering all that we've been through, I thought that if any one of my grandchildren or my children or any child, for that matter, came to me and said, "I'm so tired, cranky, and scared," I'd wrap my arms around them in a field of sweet compassion. And yet, this is hard for me to do for myself. To live in this world, we know that there is a field of human suffering that everyone experiences to some degree. We are moved by this anguish, and we have a natural desire to alleviate it, to mend it whenever we can. We are social animals, after all. We thrive when each of us does better. Thus, it's easy to offer suffering people our understanding and kindness. It is easy to help them mend their weary heart. Offering compassion to others recognizes their connection to the human family. Suffering is human, and compassion is the remedy. It has the capacity to hold human tragedy, and all suffering is worthy of compassion, even our own. Unfortunately, we recognize another's misery. We reach out and offer support, a listening ear, a warm cup of tea, a hearty meal, and a chance to rest. We offer all this rather than judgment. Unfortunately, we save the judgment for ourselves. Our inner dialogue takes us down a lonely rabbit hole that sounds something like this. I shouldn't have let this happen. I brought this on myself. This is my own personal failure. I can't believe I'm so tired. I should be stronger than this. Others have it so much worse than I do. Get a grip, woman, and move on. With this self-judgment, we remove our own misery from this field of human suffering, and we're somehow out here on the periphery, suffering from not only what's going on, but being isolated and lonely. And in isolating our own suffering, we hold ourselves to a different standard, and we don't let others care for us, and we can't care for ourselves. Now, one of the culprits of self-judgment is comparison. We compare our anguish to others and decide that our suffering's not so bad. We think we should be grateful for what we have when others have so little. Or perhaps we feel responsible for our suffering because of our actions, and therefore we don't deserve compassion. All these perspectives plant us squarely outside the field of compassion, isolating ourselves at times when we need repair through connection. This way of thinking about compassion implies that it's finite, that there's only so much to go around. I better not take any that could go to another person who is more worthy than I am. We somehow see caring as a valuable but rare commodity. But what if that isn't true? What if compassion is infinite and expansive? What if the caring that we offer to ourselves or accept from other people builds us up and makes it possible for us to reach out to even more people? What if our suffering, our struggles, and mistakes are simply a part of human experience? What if we do not have to get it right? We don't have to make ourselves small. What if we don't have to hide our needs or compare ourselves to others? What if compassion is simply a gift we offer to ourselves as we would offer it to others? What if we open our heart and our arms to receive this gift from others? We become mended, repaired through the practice of love. The terrible dragon steps down and becomes a friend to others. Recently, my grandson Charlie came home from school very sad. When I asked him what was going on, he told me that the teacher did this thing with the class. Each person got a piece of paper. He told me that the teacher said, crumple up the paper. Crumple it up really into a tight ball. And then she said, Grandma, unfold it. And this is where he got teary. Because you see, Grandma, it never goes back to being smooth and clean. When you hurt someone's feelings or they hurt yours, it's like this crumpled piece of paper, he said. It never, ever goes back. Well, I thought this was a good exercise that the teacher offered her 6-year-olds, but I think she left out an important piece of the puzzle. I knew I could repair that paper. I could make that paper smooth again, but I wanted Charlie to know that he could too. So we got a small towel. We dampened it with just a bit of water, took it to the ironing board. I got Charlie a step stool and told him that we could put the towel on top of the paper, and with a very warm iron, we could iron the towel, and the paper would come out smooth and clean. We can mend hurt feelings and sadness and all kinds of trouble with warm, tender care. We can smooth out the wrinkles of life for ourselves and for others if we take that time to care. We have a tough week ahead of us. I want to close today with some tender care and mending of our own troubles. It's called the metta practice, and it's given to us by the Buddhists. So I want you to do this with me. We're going to pray together. So settle in and get comfortable. Take a few deep breaths and allow yourself to settle in to an easy breathing pattern. Bring your attention to your heart area. You may wish to bring your hand to your heart or leave it comfortably on your lap. Begin by offering loving kindness to yourself and by repeating these phrases as I say them. May I be safe. May I be healthy. May I be happy. May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be peaceful. Next, think about someone you love and care about, maybe a family member, a friend, a pet, someone helpful in your life. Picture them in your mind and offer them the same phrases of loving kindness. May you be safe. May you be healthy. May you be happy. May you be at ease. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be peaceful. Call to mind your neighborhood, your community, your church, your country, and include all people, those you agree with and those you do not. Allow your heart to soften and repeat the phrases again, this time allowing your love to move from your heart outward. May all beings be safe. May they be healthy. May they be happy. May they be at ease. May they be filled with loving kindness. May all things be peaceful. May it be so. And amen. Thank you.